Now at 5, an update to an abandoned baby on Indy's Far East Side. I'm Ashton Hackman. How police tracked down the mother and why the child's father is now facing charges.
A Metro police officer likely shot by another officer. We have the new questions now being raised on this Friday night, more than a week after that officer-involved shooting.
Light rain is moving into western Indiana right now, and more rain and storms in the weekend forecast. I'll have the timeline.
Also, shaking up the leadership in the state Senate, why the current president is not seeking re-election, and how the issue of redistricting could be behind it.
It's 5 o'clock, it's Friday, and we start at 5 o'clock here on 13 News with a look at the impact the rain and storms could have on our weekend. Look at all that on radar.
Yes, and we're just starting to see some of the rain hit the Indiana border from Illinois. Angela's tracking what's happening and when it could happen in central Indiana.
And she's also looking ahead to a wet weekend for us. So give us the lowdown.
Rain and storms. The good news, the rain is relatively light as far as outdoor evening plans or any plans this evening. You mentioned the western part of our state. We're going to take you live to one of the NDOT cameras. This is 231 and River Road, just west of Lafayette. So in the western sections of Tippecanoe County, this is near the Purdue University campus. 231 and River Road, and you can see windshield wipers are on. We have wet pavement. This is what is moving through central Indiana this evening, and it is enough to interrupt some evening plans. Local view of radar, what we just showed you on the ground, you can see it moving across Tippecanoe County right now, crossing Interstate 65. So heads up Rossville, Frankfort, some of that light rain is starting to move your way. We have some steadier rain in Covington and Petersburg, south to Kingman and Rockville, and a few spotty showers around Terre Haute. So if you are east of this location, some of that light rain will be moving in the next half hour to 45 minutes. Future Track 13 shows the light rain this evening. Some bigger storms out west. We get that threat locally tomorrow afternoon and evening. I'll cover that in the full forecast.
All right, we'll check back. In the meantime, you can track the rain tonight and this weekend on our WTHR streaming app.
That's where you'll find our live local radar streaming 24/7. An update tonight after a baby was found abandoned on the Far East Side. Police located the baby's mother and the man they say is the father.
Our Ashton Hackman explains why that father now is facing charges and how police were able to track down the baby's parents.
Metro Police credit neighbors who found the child for not only helping them locate it, but also finding the mother, who they say lived in an apartment nearby. Along a wooded trail near Lacebark Lane and Long Wharf Drive, police found the baby alive but covered in blood. Detectives found the 16-year-old mother 4 days later. She told police the father was 20 and the child was conceived when she was 15. She also said she never told the father about the pregnancy. Court docs say detectives later found the father. He was 21, said he found out the girl was 16, but continued having sex with her anyways. Police say there are resources to surrender a child.
There are means. There's resources if you want to try, and there's resources available that have been made to us so it's not criminal. And we want people to make sure, first and foremost, that life of that child is the most important thing.
Ahead at 6, why police say this investigation isn't over and why the number of safe haven baby boxes in Indianapolis is limited. On the Far East Side, Ashton Hackman, 13 News.
Thank you, Ashton. The 21-year-old father now being held in jail for sexual misconduct with a minor. The prosecutor will determine the official charges in the case. In the meantime, you can check out where there are safe haven baby boxes located around central Indiana. We have posted a link with this story right now at WTHR.com/SeenOn13.
Tonight, a woman is facing federal kidnapping charges accused of abducting a 6-month-old baby from West Lafayette. A 22-year-old Georgia woman, Jasmine O'Sullivan, is accused of taking the child Thursday night. Detectives tracked her from West Lafayette to Louisville, where they found the baby and arrested O'Sullivan. Investigators believe the suspect pretended to be someone else to gain the trust of the baby's mom and kidnap the child. O'Sullivan may face additional federal charges as well as state charges.
New information and reaction tonight to the investigation of an officer-involved shooting on the east side of Indianapolis.
Police believe one of the 2 officers injured a little more than a week ago was shot by another officer. Rich Nye is here after talking with police and the family of the man police shot and killed.
Police say they have proof that 21-year-old Dallas Jett shot one of their officers, but a second officer injured, who is still in the hospital, may have been the victim of friendly fire. IMPD responded to a disturbance at a home on East 37th Street on July 22nd about 10:30 p.m. I talked Friday with Pastor Devontae Scruggs, a relative of Dallas Jett, who is serving as a family spokesman. He says Jett went to the home of the mother of his child to retrieve his wallet. A dispute apparently developed between Jett and the child's grandmother, and police were called. Police say when they arrived, Jett was outside and fired shots at officers. 3 officers returned fire. Officers Donald Meyer, Jessica Dickinson, and Michael Totten. They shot and killed Jett. Investigators say a bullet recovered from the ballistic vest of one officer came from Jett's gun, which police say they recovered at the scene. That officer was treated and released that same night. The other officer injured remains in the hospital and has undergone surgery. Investigators believe that officer was actually hit by a bullet from another officer's gun. Jett's family expected to view police body cam video this week, but that was delayed. The family released a statement that includes, "As a family, we are heartbroken, frustrated, and deeply disappointed. Every new development leaves us with more questions than answers and deepens the pain we have carried since the day Dallas was taken from us. We refuse to allow delays or changing narratives to stand in the way of the truth." Police responded, IMPD remains committed to transparency and intends to respond to the family's request and share the footage with Mr. Jett's family as required under state law. IMPD is coordinating with Mr. Jett's family to provide them the opportunity to review the body-worn camera footage from all involved officers. And IMPD went on to explain that the video viewing has been temporarily postponed to protect the integrity of the investigative process. One issue is that the officer, still hospitalized, has not yet given a statement to investigators.
Thank you, Rich.
The Lynn Town Marshal, who lost his life in the line of duty this week in eastern Indiana, will be laid to rest this weekend.
We just learned today the details of these services for the town marshal, Brad Fisher. They're taking place this Sunday. The public is welcome at the visitation. It's at the Randolph Southern High School gym. It begins at 11 o'clock Sunday and it will run till 4. The funeral service will begin at 4 o'clock, followed by the burial. Police honors are planned at the Spartanburg Cemetery. A push to end straw gun purchases now is coming to Indiana.
Well, what is a straw gun purchase? That's when someone buys a gun for someone else who cannot buy a gun. Brandon Schaff explains what's being done to stop it.
The Don't Lie for the Other Guy campaign sends a clear message to the public that there are severe consequences for buying a gun for someone who wouldn't be able to legally obtain it otherwise. And there are signs right here throughout Range USA that say exactly what the extent of those penalties would be.
Those who ignore the warning could face up to 15 years in prison and a $250,000 fine. Gun retailers like Range USA play an important role in prevention, and staff are trained to ID suspicious transactions. The campaign shifts its focus to the Indianapolis area as ATF says gun trafficking investigations in their Ohio and southern Indiana region doubled over the last year.
It's a serious issue that we were dealing with, right? And like the people behind me said, when those guns are bought from the stores and handled to the convicted felons, prohibited person, it becomes a problem for the society, the communities. Because once you pull that trigger, you cannot control that bullet where it goes. And that's when somebody innocent get hit.
In Indianapolis, Brandon Schaff, 13 News.
The campaign will also have billboards along the highway, Indigo shelters online, and also will have ads on the radio.
Tonight, there's a search for a missing Grant County Sheriff's Office canine. Ellie is a Maine trailing bloodhound who was last seen near the Miami County line in northwestern Grant County. The Sheriff's Office says Ellie is not a threat to the public. What believe happened was there was a loud sound that scared her last night and sent her running away. So now they'd like to find her. So they're asking people in places like Converse, Sweetster, Swayze, and Oak Hill to keep an eye out for Ellie.
Well, one of the most powerful positions at the State House will soon be up for grabs. Senate President Pro Tem Rod Bray says he will not seek another term leading the Senate Republican caucus.
Our State House reporter Emily Longnecker explains what this decision means for the future of the Indiana State House.
For 8 years, Rod Bray has set the agenda in the Indiana Senate. Now he's stepping aside. The announcement coming Friday morning in a statement from Bray, who called serving as the Senate President pro tem, quote, among the most significant honors of my life. Bray said one of the jobs as the top caucus leader is to, quote, look out for his caucus members. Bray's statement alluded to that being difficult to do because of, quote, promises to recruit and fund primary challengers for any senator who supports Bray's bid to remain the leader of the Senate. In his statement, Bray didn't reference redistricting or President Trump, but the timing comes months after the president threatened to support primary challengers against Republican senators who opposed his push to redraw Indiana's congressional maps, including Bray. Several of the Republicans who oppose redistricting lost in the May primary to challengers backed by the president.
We've gone from trying to defeat people who actually opposed redistricting to now trying to defeat people who maybe supported redistricting, but they also support Rod Bray, and so he just doesn't want to put them in that position of having to choose between their own seats and his leadership.
In an episode of Crossroads Politics, editor of the Indiana Capitol Chronicle, Nikki Kelly, said the two senators she's hearing could possibly move to replace Bray are Senator Scott Baldwin and Senator Chris Garton.
He was the #2 leader in the Senate until June, when he stepped down from that, saying his beliefs no longer aligned with Bray's. So ever since he announced that, everyone has assumed he's going to seek it. I've also heard that Senator Scott Baldwin is interested, so that's a possibility. He hasn't really spoken on it.
Whoever becomes the Senate's next leader, though, won't happen until after the November election.
All the new members, the new senators, will then get to vote on the leader for the chamber.
Between now and then, Kelly says conversations will be happening.
Because the leader also gets to appoint committee chairs, so now that's one thing you say, I'll support you if I get to share this committee. I mean, it's just sort of the horse trading that goes with it.
Conversations behind closed doors that help decide a lot more than just who leads the Senate. At the Indiana State House, Emily Longnecker, 13 News.
And that conversation continues. If you'd like to hear more about this back and forth within the Republican Party at the Indiana State House, you can hear more from Emily and Nikki on this and some of the other big political stories breaking this week, including a new report on the conditions for ICE detainees here in Indiana. It's all put together for you on Crossroad Politics. The next episode streams at 10 o'clock on Sunday morning.
All right, it's game night for your Indiana Fever as they look to extend their winning streak to 5. What's been working so well over the last few weeks is coming up at 13 Sports.
Just a few showers for our Friday evening, but looking ahead to a severe threat on Saturday.
Colts training camp day 3 coming and going. We get a chance to hear from two young guys, impactful guys on this defense, Justin Wally and CJ Allen. That's coming up for you in sports.